Imagine you've just hit a major roadblock. Everything you've worked for suddenly feels like it's slipping through your fingers. You feel defeated, questioning if it's even worth it. But what if that very moment of struggle, that feeling of loss, could be the spark for something new? What if your biggest setback could actually be the beginning of something greater than you ever expected? You've been there. Things were going smoothly. And then life throws a curveball. Maybe a project you poured hours into falls apart, or a relationship you invested in turns sour. It feels like you've been knocked off course, like your efforts have been in vain. But what if this moment of disappointment is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey? When you face a setback, your initial instinct might be to retreat, to protect yourself from further hurt. It's natural to want to stop trying, to wonder if it's even worth it. However, this is where the opportunity lies. In the face of setbacks, you're presented with a chance to reframe the situation, to look at it not as a failure, but as an invitation for change. Think about it. Every major turning point in your life, every success you've experienced, has likely been born from a challenge or a struggle. This setback is no different. It's a signal to reevaluate your path, to ask yourself deeper questions about where you're headed and why. What do you truly want? Are you moving toward the life you've always imagined, or are you caught up in the momentum of what you thought you wanted? Here's a thought experiment. Imagine this setback as a blank canvas. Take a moment to visualize yourself standing before it. What do you see? Do you see the remnants of what was once there, or do you see the possibility of something new taking shape? You have the ability to redefine this moment, to choose how it shapes your future. This is your chance to pause, reflect, and rebuild with clarity. Now, let's bring this concept to life. Think of a time in your life when you experienced a setback. It could be anything: a failed project, an unexpected obstacle, or even a personal setback. How did it feel in the moment? Disorienting? Frustrating? Hopeless, maybe? Now, think about where you are now, looking back on that experience. What have you learned? How did that setback in time shape you into the person you are today? Chances are, you found new strengths, discovered hidden resilience, or learned valuable lessons that guided you forward. Remember that little promise you made to yourself earlier? The one where you vowed to see this as a chance for something new? Now is the time to hold on to that promise. A setback can feel like the universe is pulling you in a different direction, but perhaps it's pushing you toward exactly what you need: growth, change, and reinvention. The key to this process is understanding that the setback itself is not the end of the road. It's simply a redirection, a necessary step toward something greater. It's the universe asking you to pause and reflect. In the chaos, there is clarity. In the confusion, there is opportunity. Now, take a moment to consider this. What if you allowed yourself to view every obstacle in your life as an opportunity, rather than a roadblock? How would your perception of setbacks change if you viewed them as the very catalyst for transformation? Every time you face disappointment, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this challenge guide me to a better version of myself? A setback doesn't just mark the end of a chapter. It often signifies the beginning of a new one. With every setback, you have the chance to create a new narrative, one that's written with a deeper understanding of who you are and who you're becoming. When life presents you with a setback, it's easy to get caught up in the pain of the moment. You feel vulnerable, exposed, and unsure of what comes next. But what if I told you that setbacks are one of the most profound ways to uncover your hidden strengths? Setbacks are often the tests that reveal your true character. It's in these moments, when everything feels uncertain, that you discover what you're really made of. Maybe you didn't know you had the ability to be so resilient. Maybe you didn't realize how resourceful or creative you could be in the face of difficulty. Challenges have a way of pulling these qualities out of you. They force you to confront your fears, your limitations, and, in doing so, allow you to rise above them. Think about a time in your life when you faced a significant obstacle. Perhaps it was a personal challenge, a financial crisis, or even a professional failure. In that moment, you may have thought you couldn't go any further. The pressure felt too much, the task too big. Yet, somehow you found a way to push through. That strength, that resolve, was always there inside you. It just took the right challenge to bring it to the surface. Now, pause and reflect on the person you are today. Can you see the growth that emerged from past setbacks? Maybe you've become more adaptable, more patient, or more strategic in how you approach problems. You might not have realized it, but these challenges have shaped you into a person capable of facing even bigger hurdles down the line. You've developed resilience, and this resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about becoming stronger with every fall. It's about learning to stand back up each time you're knocked down, and each time, you're a little wiser, a little more self-assured. Setbacks, in their most powerful form, don't just break you down, they build you up too. Let's do a quick thought experiment. Close your eyes and think about a time when you overcame something difficult. Maybe it was a personal conflict or a professional setback. How did it feel when you finally overcame it? The pride, the relief, the sense of accomplishment, these are all evidence of the inner strength you possess. Now, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what strengths did you tap into during that challenge? Was it patience, creativity, grit, or perhaps a deep belief in yourself that got you through? These are the traits you can carry forward into future setbacks, knowing that you have the capacity to face whatever comes your way. So, what's the next step in cultivating these strengths? It's about actively seeking out opportunities for growth, even in the midst of challenges. When you encounter obstacles in the future, ask yourself, how can I use this to become stronger? What part of me needs to grow in order to move past this? You don't need to wait for a crisis to uncover your hidden strengths. In fact, by intentionally putting yourself in situations that push your limits, you're already preparing yourself to be the best version of you. Every challenge is a chance to uncover more of your potential, to find new parts of yourself that you never knew existed. Remember that setbacks don't define you. How you rise from them and the strength you gain is what defines you. Embrace the discomfort. The hidden strength you need is already within you sometimes. All it takes is the right challenge to bring it to light. One of the most transformative things you can do in the wake of a setback is shift your perspective. It's all too easy to see failure as the end of the road, but what if you could view it as an opportunity for growth, a chance to evolve into something greater? The way you perceive setbacks, how you frame them in your mind, has everything to do with how you move forward. The truth is, every setback you experience is an opportunity to reframe your thinking, to change your mindset. It's about seeing the situation not as a dead end, but as a detour that may lead you to something even better than what you originally planned. The moment you start looking at your challenges through a new lens, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities. Take a moment to reflect. Think about a time when something didn't go as planned. Maybe you lost a job, or a dream you were chasing slipped away. How did you initially respond? Did you feel defeated, discouraged, or disheartened? Now, fast forward to today. Looking back on that moment, how do you see it now? Chances are, the pain of the setback has faded, and you've gained some clarity about why things unfolded the way they did. What might have seemed like failure at the time could have been a redirection, leading you to a better opportunity or a deeper understanding of yourself. Here's an exercise to help shift your perspective. Think about a recent setback you experienced. Now, instead of focusing on what went wrong, focus on the lessons you learned. What did that experience teach you? What strengths did it bring out that you didn't realize you had? Even if the outcome wasn't what you expected, there's always something to be gained from each experience. By reframing setbacks as learning experiences, you take the power back into your own hands. Instead of allowing failure to define you, you choose to define it as an opportunity to learn and grow. In doing so, you give yourself permission to keep moving forward, knowing that every step, even the missteps, brings you closer to your true potential. Think about how often we avoid discomfort and struggle. We often feel that the ideal path is one of smooth sailing, where we avoid mistakes and setbacks at all costs. But in reality, it's the rough patches that provide the most growth. It's when you're pushed out of your comfort zone that you discover who you really are and what you're capable of. Without these bumps in the road, there's no real transformation. The secret to turning setbacks into opportunities lies in your ability to embrace change. Every time something unexpected happens, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this challenge help me grow? It's in those questions that you find the seeds of opportunity, hidden just beneath the surface of discomfort. When you look at your setbacks through the lens of opportunity, you start to see patterns. You recognize that challenges are simply part of the process of growth. They're not signs of failure, but invitations to learn, to adapt, and to become more resilient. You stop resisting change and start embracing it, knowing that every shift, every turn, is leading you closer to who you are meant to be. Here's the key: the more you practice shifting your mindset, the easier it becomes to see setbacks as stepping stones rather than obstacles. Each time you face a challenge, you'll instinctively begin to look for the lesson, the silver lining, the opportunity that lies within. And with time, you'll find that setbacks no longer hold the same power over you. Instead, you'll feel empowered by them, knowing that you're capable of overcoming anything that comes your way. So, the next time life throws you a curveball, remember that it's not the setback itself that matters. It's how you choose to view it. A setback is merely a shift in perspective, and the opportunity is there for you to grasp. Patience. It's a word we hear often, yet it's something that can be so difficult to practice, especially when we're in the midst of a setback. We want to rush through the pain. We want to fast forward to the good part, the resolution. But what if the real transformation lies in the time between the setback and the success? What if this slow, often uncomfortable, process is precisely where you need to be? Real growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual unfolding, like a flower slowly blooming. A setback can feel like a sudden blow, but in truth, it's simply a moment that requires time and reflection. There's no magic formula for instant change. Just as a tree needs time to grow tall and strong, you too need time to develop and heal. When you experience a setback, it's tempting to want everything to be fixed immediately. But real growth takes patience. It takes time to process what happened, to learn from it, and to integrate those lessons into your life. This phase of waiting, of uncertainty, is often the most difficult, but it's also where the deepest growth happens. Here's a simple exercise. Close your eyes and think about something you've been struggling with. It could be an ongoing challenge, a past setback, or something you're still working through. Now, think about how much time it's taken for you to get to this point, how much growth has occurred, even in the face of the struggle. Can you see how far you've come, even if it feels slow? Patience isn't about sitting idly and waiting for things to change on their own. It's about trusting the process, allowing time to work its magic, and being kind to yourself in the process. When setbacks happen, don't rush past them. Take time to sit with the discomfort. It's in these moments of stillness that you'll gain the clarity you need to move forward. Think about the last time you experienced frustration or impatience. You probably felt like you were getting nowhere. Yet, as time passed, you may have found that things worked themselves out in unexpected ways. Your patience paid off. This is the quiet, unspoken power of time. It heals, it transforms, and it allows us to grow. Now, let's consider the concept of self-compassion. When you face a setback, it's easy to be hard on yourself, to think that you should have done better or been more prepared. But real growth comes when you're kind to yourself during these times. You don't need to have everything figured out right away. Be patient with yourself as you process, as you learn, and as you heal. Remember, personal growth is never linear. It's full of twists, turns, and unexpected detours. And while setbacks can feel like a huge setback in the moment, they often pave the way for greater growth down the road. So, take a deep breath and remind yourself that growth is a slow and steady process. The time you're spending now, even in uncertainty, is helping you become who you are meant to be. You're exactly where you need to be, right in the middle of your own transformation. As you continue on this journey, trust that patience will serve you well. The challenges you're facing are building your resilience and deepening your understanding. With time, your setbacks will no longer seem like obstacles, but rather like the necessary steps on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself. Building resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks, it's about how you handle them when they arise. Resilience is the capacity to bounce back, to keep moving forward, even after you've faced disappointment or failure. But resilience isn't just about surviving the tough moments, it's about thriving because of them. It's about learning to use the lessons from each challenge to build a stronger, more capable version of yourself. When you face a setback, you might feel as though your world has been upended. It's easy to focus on what you've lost or the obstacles that stand in your way, but resilience is the ability to look beyond the immediate struggle and see the long-term picture. It's about understanding that setbacks are not permanent, they're just temporary phases, and you have the power to move through them. Here's something to think about. When you look back on your life, what are the moments that stand out as defining? Chances are, the moments that shaped you the most were the ones where you encountered challenges, where things didn't go as planned. These are the moments that forced you to grow, to adapt, and to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. And in those moments, you learned what it truly means to be resilient. Resilience doesn't mean that you never experience hardship. It means that you trust yourself to move through it. Think of it like this. Every time you face a setback, you're adding another layer to your resilience. You're building emotional muscle, learning new ways to cope, and growing stronger with each challenge. Over time, you'll find that setbacks no longer feel as overwhelming because you've already faced challenges and emerged on the other side. Let's do a small exercise to cultivate resilience. Think of a situation in your life that once seemed impossible to overcome. It could be a personal challenge, a financial difficulty, or a professional failure. Now, take a moment to reflect on how you handled it. What resources did you tap into? What strengths did you use to get through it? Write down the things that helped you persevere. And remember that these qualities are always available to you. Resilience also requires a willingness to keep moving forward, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's about developing a mindset that refuses to stay stuck in the past. When you experience a setback, it's natural to grieve the loss or feel frustrated. But resilience allows you to honor those feelings while still moving forward. You acknowledge the pain, but you don't allow it to define you. This is where the concept of moving forward becomes so important. Moving forward doesn't mean pretending the setback never happened or ignoring the pain. It means taking small, intentional steps toward the future, even when the path feels uncertain. It's about trusting that, with time, the setback will eventually fade into the background, and you'll be left with the lessons you've learned, the strength you've gained, and the resilience that now shapes who you are. So, how do you continue building resilience? It's simple. You keep going. Even when things are tough, even when it feels like you're stuck, you keep moving. Each time you face a challenge, you grow. Each time you get knocked down, you rise again, stronger, more capable, and more determined than before. In the end, resilience isn't something that you achieve. It's something that you embody. It's not a destination, but a continuous process of learning, growing, and adapting. And with every setback, you become more resilient. You become a person who not only survives challenges but thrives because of them. As you move forward in life, Remember that setbacks will always come, but your resilience will always carry you through. Embrace each challenge with the knowledge that it is shaping you into the person you are meant to be. With every setback, you are building the foundation for a future that is stronger, more confident, and more capable than you ever thought possible.